and it's still cold out, but it's sunny. That's the positive of the day. It's sunny out, right?
Yeah, that is.
We've got the extension office in. So you can't really move in this snow.
No.
We cannot.
Right.
No. No.
It just can't happen.
No. That's why, I mean, that was my fear. We were just talking about that a little bit ago. I was like, this would be the prime time, like absolute worst weather to make the move, but
try to box it up and move across.
Yeah. So, and I know that we can't move yet either because in the world of contracting and building new buildings and a public space, you have to have what's called a certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
So that's basically where everybody checks off and the state says you are good to go as far as that building can now be occupied by people. And we have not achieved that yet either, just because we're checking off the final little pieces that needs that inspection to get that. So that's kind of that final step too before we can officially move in and occupy the building. So we hope that will happen in the next couple weeks. I know that we're waiting on the fire suppression company is kind of that last piece to get everything finalized and checked off before. So hopefully we can get in soon. I know that the first event and first official time that it's being rented is on the 12th of February. So we're up to the line, but we're close. We have went over a few times and measured and looked at the space, and it is going to be a very nice asset to the community.
That's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I think too, the cool stuff you found during this move, like as you've gone through stuff, has been.
Oh yeah. And I'm sure we'll still find more because we've went through, as we've talked on here before, about just finding historical documents and ribbons and pictures and different things like that we've kind of been able to live through the past. We've even found, it was interesting, we found some old county extension director kind of hiring practices, and found at a certain point in time there was actually tests that employees would take kind of as part of the hiring process. So looking at what that looked like. So it's been a fun trip down memory lane as far as all of that, but I'm sure we'll find more because we still have stuff that we need to go through and final details as we look to move. So it's going to be, once that time comes, it's going to be a mad dash and a very slow process because we're going to move the required items and then passively move the other stuff so we know, okay, what do we really need and then what don't we need. So
it's on the horizon though, like we can see it.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the light is there. The light is there at the end of the tunnel, just in that home stretch now. So
yeah. So one of the things that we actually have been starting to discuss, even though we're 6 months out still, 5 months I guess, is we have a fair committee meeting tonight. So some of the stuff that we're going to chat with tonight is what is going to be in that building, just so then from a 4-H standpoint and from a baby show standpoint, some other things, where are things going to be housed this year? What does that look like? So then we can start planning logistically, what do we need? Because before it was a broken record. It was the same thing every year. We knew we needed to hang certain projects. We needed to set certain projects in cases. It's all going to be new this year. We don't have the same pegboard to hang stuff, so how are we going to hang projects? Because as of right now, the understanding is that all of our 4-H projects will be housed in the new building, which is good. I mean, we're super excited about that. However, we don't have the pegboard. We don't have some of those things that we had before. Some of the, when the headquarters building, we were able to hang posters behind kind of some of those areas that we had built with wire and some photo ledge. So figuring that out is going to be a challenge this year because it's metal wall.
Creativity.
It's a good challenge. I mean, it's really been putting our council members and things like that of like, okay, we have the blank slate. Like, how do we want to build from the ground up now?
Yeah,
like,
that's exciting.
Yeah. So it's going to be, and it is exciting. It's not anything that we're going to complain about for sure.
Yeah. The only thing we've asked for is one corner of the air-conditioned building to put our show. Just one corner.
Yeah, and
we're very contained.
Hopefully tonight we find out some more about what is in that building, because I've heard some rumors about some purchases that have been made that will be able to be utilized with the building. But until we get the official word, we just want to. We're kind of planning in the clouds before we come down. So it's going to be awesome because I know one of the things that we're looking at this year is that we have, Nora, I guess when I say we collective 4-H, is we have consolidated our 4-H judging to one day.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes, now we
Nice,
have the
but a lot,
space.
right?
Yeah,
Like-
so it's a lot, but it was something that we kind of threw out. We have the space now, so do we want to shift it all to one day? Because when you think about it, for a lot of kids do projects that require them to come on both days. So not only are you asking the youth to show up, but you're asking the parents to get the youth there multiple days, and not everyone lives, a block away from the fairgrounds where it's super easy. So trying to take that in consideration, we kind of threw it out to council, and a lot of the people that are on our council, they're parents, and I mean, instant like, oh my gosh, like that would be so nice, like that would be such a relief. So
I think it decreases confusion too, because it's like, well, this goes in this day and this goes this day,
and even like building of like, okay, like why have this project? Well, this project goes to this building and this project goes to this building, and like I got to do this and that, and then when I come back the next day, I'm in different buildings, and so I think the confusion will be cut down, the ease will be there. We extended the judging time, so it used to be 4 to 7, so we're gonna try 4 to 8, and then just kind of see where that takes us this year, because I mean it is kind of that blank slate. We don't know necessarily, so we have to start somewhere, but we're going to give it a try and just kind of see how things go, and if it's a complete disaster, well, we know for next year, and
we all have year one. Like that's just everybody has a fresh start.
That has been a big conversation.
We're going to plan as best we can and figure it out on the fly when we can't. I know that one of the biggest things that will help is that it will all be localized. So one of the things that I think parents see but don't get to experience is that when we do have those judging evenings, we as in the extension office is on hand to just work constantly moving between the buildings with ribbons, with paperwork, with just the things required to allow the judging to happen, and that will all be right there.
Literally,
so,
your office is in that building, judging in that building.
Yeah, the step count is about to get cut in half.
Darn it.
Yeah, I know, a lot less.
You
like,
won't be in the 90-degree heat.
Yeah, so a lot less running, a lot less.
Yeah, so we'll have to figure all that out, because we have families that show up and stand in the heat. So hopefully, with the space being large enough, we'll be able to accommodate so we can get them in and out of that. So it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a good year. Yeah. So there's gonna be hiccups. There's gonna be moments where we're gonna have to figure it out, and that's okay. That's where we're gonna ask for grace from our families to be understanding of what that looks like, because it is a huge benefit that we have the building, but we won't have everything figured out. We won't know what it'll look like.
And our families have been doing so well with us, even over last year, because there was a lot of changes just with last year with not having the community building and the new building being up, just the changes. So, I mean, our families have been really great working with us, so hopefully we continue to kind of carry that momentum into this new year.
I've been using the word fine, and everything will be fine. Like it
always is fine. There's always those little hiccups, but we figure it out along the way. And
perfection would be boring. Think about it. If everything was perfect, that would just be boring.
It'd be too easy. There'd be no excitement.
That's right. We don't want that.
We like a little bit of spice.
Yeah, we get a little spicy. So
we're all out there together all the time. It's great.
I mean, who doesn't want to be, in the 100% humidity, 90-degree, long days?
I think today I would trade for that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I want that much humidity. I mean,
I would take it over this.
It's that time of year where I laugh on Facebook where people post things about the first person that complains about how hot it is, like, is going to be tarred and feathered.
I did see a meme that was like, I'm ready for Friday nights at 7 and it's 90 degrees. That is me. I do love that.
Yes, that's nice.
And I sent that to someone, and they said, "Just remember that Fair Week." I said, "I don't."
Fair Week is like an exemption, though. Like that week does not count. Like
by the end of that week, you're tired too.
Yeah,
like,
you can say whatever that week because it's hot. They're a long day. Like you're sweating together. People get.
It's gonna be this.
It's gonna be better
for us.
It's gonna be better
outside of livestock, and livestock is gonna exist, and it's gonna be hot regardless.
Yeah.
But all of the other small things, if we host them in that new building, it's going to cut some of that down. But that's, again, where we'll have to, that's where we're excited to work with the Fair Committee, because they're giving us this new gift of the building, but we also want to ensure to share it with them and with the community. And, we want 4-H in there, but we also want it to be a space that the community can use, because one of our questions that we have is there going to be a stage in there? That would make sense. It's the new building. We would want it to be in a conditioned area to have those opening nights and that sort of thing. But I don't know that they've figured it out yet, because it is that newness of what it looks like. And So,
it's fresh. We're still slapping paint and screws on that.
There's still a lot of figuring out with it, but like I said, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But enrollment for 4-H is open, so we don't have to wait for that.
No, we do not. So it's been open since the beginning of October, and there's technically no enrollment deadline unless you are in livestock. So May 15th.
That's such a different mindset for me, right?
Yes. So it used to, and that change really has just come within the last couple of years. So it was always that January 15th. Like January 15th, that was the deadline, but they have changed that to be more inclusive. So static project enrollment is open fairly year-round. I mean, basically to July. So if you want to get in the day before the fair, you technically can. Wouldn't really probably recommend it.
You would really be,
I was like, you're really going to be really towing the line there, but I mean, you technically can, but if you are wanting to be involved with livestock and actually bringing the animal, all of that, you will have to be in by May 15th, so, but it's open. We have about 230 youth already enrolled, which is pretty much like right on spot for this time of year. We typically see a pretty large boost over these next couple months, and then right around that May 15th date is another kind of shoot up of numbers. So we're on track to have that 400 or 500 again, like we have in past years. So we actually were just awarded back in September that we had a 4% increase in our enrollment over the last 3 years. So nice. That's been a big thing that we are growing.
For regular 4-H, 4th grade and up.
Third grade.
Third grade.
Third through 12 is our regular 4-H, and then K through second grade, K through 2 is our mini 4-Hers.
And the mini 4-H program's really taken a boost too.
Yes, so that actually has also had a 4% increase over the last 3 years of enrollment. So we usually have between 100 and 120 kids that are actually in mini 4-H, which is really awesome. So there's multiple projects for them to choose from. They get to do a little project and bring it to the fair. It gets judged typically by our junior leaders, and then they all get a participation ribbon as well. So they kind of walk through the process, and a lot of it's set up just like regular 4-H. So they have to do 4-H online, and we're working so they can do fair entry, which is our other platform. So we try to really model what regular 4-H will be, so when they move from second grade into third grade, it's not like oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm completely starting over, like everything's brand new.
Not a shock factor.
Yeah, so trying to kind of simplify that process for them, but enrollment is open. Same thing, volunteers, if you want to be a volunteer, that enrollment is open. It's through 4-H online too, so we can always use volunteers. So if you have any interest, please do, especially like a lot of our clubs. We've had some changeover, so we're definitely looking for some club leaders. So if that's something that, is interesting to you, please reach out because we need you.
So, and that goes along with the idea, too, that you can specialize as a volunteer as well. So I think a lot of people assume, well, if I'm a volunteer, I have to run a club or I have to have a lot of time investment. And that's not the case. It's something that if you want to be a volunteer, so one of the big challenges that we'll be faced with this year that we've already chatted about is with the new building, with consolidating our judging to one day, we normally kind of rinse, recycle our volunteers both days of judging. So we know we're covered. This year, we're not going to have that same cushion. So we're going to have to really find those volunteers that can help us judge, because it takes a lot of manpower to be able to assist our judges that are there, to move projects, to get ribbons, to do all the things, because we have kind of streamlined that process too. We're one of the counties in the state that really utilize fair entry, which is our program that is used for project result entry, basically. And that takes a lot of hands, but that also streamlines how quickly we get results in and done. So the state takes note of how we do our stuff, but again, it's the manpower that we need. So if you're somebody that just, hey, I would love to help do project entry and help with the results, that's all you would need to do. You would just tell us that's what you'd want to specialize in. You would still go through the volunteer process, but that would be your time investment for the program, would just be that one day for those few hours, and then you're good to go.
And if you want to volunteer, what's the best way to get to that website?
So you can simply just Google 4-H online. I think the web address is actually like v2.4h online. Like, it's really goofy. So if you just simply Google 4-H online, it's like the first thing that comes up. You click on it, and it'll take you straight to like a login. So you'll do a new enrollment, and then you can select whether you're enrolling a youth or enrolling as a volunteer. And then that gives you a multitude of options of like, are you a council member? Are you like a club leader? Are you working with livestock? Are you just wanting to be a general, like, hey, if you need me, here I am type of person? So there's a lot of different roles and pathways that you can take as a volunteer. Like Christopher said, you don't have to be just a club leader or like just sitting on this, or if you just simply want to be an extra hand the week of the fair, like, awesome, thank you, that would be great. Like, we will take all of them.
Because it almost is doubling your volunteers the day of entry. I mean, if you really stop and think about it.
Will. Yep, because we'll have to expand some of our judges, because even judging is one that even outside of our county, if you're somebody that holds a specialty, so let's say you're somebody that crochets or bakes, or you have an area of expertise, those are the things that you could judge in 4-H, and the state as a whole is in desperate need of fresh judges as well, because there is a spreadsheet that the state kind of pushes out, maintains, and it has a list of all the judges that are available, because judges go through the same level of scrutiny that volunteers will as far as approval, because they have to do certain trainings, they have to have background checks done, just so then when we deal with youth, it's the same thing that like an educator through a school system would go through very similarly. So, but that list continues to get smaller because judges retire, because it's a lot of judges that have done it forever, or it's projects are expanding, or just finding expertise in the projects that are new. So,
and trying to find new faces as well. Because, I mean, you want to give the kids a new face to be speaking with every year. And, I mean, we try really, really hard to find new judges, but some of those very specialized areas are really, really tough. Like, I know crops and things like that, that is one that we struggle to find judges in.
That's really interesting to me.
Yeah, and a lot of it's just because there's not, I mean, I know there's people out there, it's just that they're not in that portal, or they haven't went through that process that 4-H that is required. So, I mean, very similar to being a volunteer, you go to 4-H online and say you want to be a judge, and it's actually a really neat process, because I ask you, like, hey, do you want to do communications? Do you want to do, like, crafts? Do you want to, like, and you just click yes or no, and it lists all the projects out, and then it also lists all 92 counties. And
very nice.
So you click, like, yes, I want to judge in Decatur County, or, like, yes, I want to judge in Ripley County, whatever county it might be. So it is kind of cool. So then when we pull those spreadsheets, I know exactly, like, I have 7 people to pick from that are willing to come to my county to judge. So it is a neat process, but definitely
we need to beef up the supply.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And I am a judge in this state, so I kind of travel around fair time and judge at different, and it's a lot of fun. It is a lot. It's one of those things that you have to be you have to kind of separate yourself a little bit, because there are times that you give red and white ribbons and you have to explain why. And, you know, I will say a lot of times the youth understand, and are, you know, statistics show that youth are harder on themselves than what we will be. So if I do give somebody a red or a white and ask, like, do you understand why? And they will, yep, I should have done this better. I get it. And, you know, and they already understand. But if not, it's a learning moment. It's a moment that you can say, hey, here's why I gave this ribbon to you, and you can explain next year, this is how I would improve, and this is what you can do to make yourself better in this skill set. So that is always something that it is a moment where they can learn, because 4-H is all about the positive, but as I remind parents too, it's about those hard learning moments, that life isn't always the, you know, rainbows and roses. It's those hard moments that you also learn from. So just because you don't get the blue ribbon doesn't mean you did a bad job. You still learned. It's just that's kind of where, as far as, because as a judge you have a rubric basically that kind of lays out, here's what you need to do to be able to meet certain criteria for the project, and if you're missing certain parameters, that already knocks you down.
So I only got one red ribbon in 4-H my entire 10 years, and it was my photography project. It was the first year I did it, and
Same.
I forgot to number the pictures.
Oh yeah.
I don't ever forget that.
Yep.
Yeah, right there. That's the only one.
I only got a red ribbon once, and it was on photography, and I don't remember why I even got a red at this point, but
I was devastated because it was something simple I just forgot to do.
I wasn't a 4-H'er, so
I wasn't devastated. I was angry because
angry's probably
I just expected I would get a blue. And I'm sure there was a learning opportunity that he was trying, and I remember it was a male judge, but I just stopped listening because I was just like, what? No, I should be getting the grand champion with my, and
I know. I was not used to that red. It burned. It's still burning. You can tell. It's still there.
Judging is a fun event. It's something most counties, so for people that would be interested in most counties, I recuse myself from this just because it's through extension, but you are paid. So that is one thing. Most counties do pay you as a judge for your expertise and your mileage. So each county pays different. It's just dependent on their council. So that is something that you are a volunteer, but you are a paid volunteer. So that is one thing that is nice for those judges that that do that, because it's just kind of one of those that it's just a couple extra bucks that you can use, and some people donate it back to the program. They can do whatever they want with it, but it's the one county I know that I'm not going to get to go to this year that I always laugh about.
You get kicked out.
No, I didn't get kicked out.
It overlaps with ours.
Yeah, it overlaps with ours, but it was a county that a colleague of ours reached out 3 years or 4 years ago now, and was like, hey, we're looking for an aerospace judge. Do you know anything about aerospace? And I said, I know enough that I would be able to probably. So usually when you get asked about judging too as an extension is that you think about your county first. So in aerospace here, it used to be a really big project. So that's the rockets. It's not anymore. So I was like, yeah, I could come down and do your airspace, I was like, didn't ask any questions. Like, yeah, sure, add me. So I get there and I asked her, I said, how many project entries do you guys have? Like 5, 6, something like that. And she was like, oh, well, that was the part that I didn't tell you. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she's like, it's our largest project because it's a tradition at our fair that basically like everybody does it, and then we have a huge launch to start the fair. And I was like, oh, what? And she was like, so there's 57 entries. And I was like, there's what? And I was like, dude, I know enough, but
not that much.
This is like a hard.
Yeah. Was that the same year too that like the very first one that you judged fell apart or whatever?
Yeah. Very first, the kid comes up and he hands it to me, and it just. Oh, yeah, everything fell off. It was still wet, and I was like, and you could tell me, it was like, I just finished it in the car, and I was like, all right, here's what we're going to do. Go back, give yourself some time, re-glue it.
Get yourself together.
So, yeah, and that first year also, it was really windy, so we were launching rockets, and they were just disappearing, and the launch itself is like an hour or two in this specific county. I mean, it's a big deal. Yeah. So, and it's really cool. It is a fun event, but that one year we were doing it, and I usually yell out the kids' names, and they launch, and everybody watches, and then it's like a big game to try and chase the rocket down and catch it as it comes down. Well, there was an older gentleman that tapped me on the shoulder, and he asked me, he said, are you the rocket judge? And I said, I am. And he said, here, this landed in my yard. And he had one of the rockets, and I was like, okay. So then we started talking to him, and he lived 1.5 miles from where we were launching them, and it had went up and just traveled that far.
So the wind caught it.
And wind had caught it. So then he starts questioning me, and this guy was like a member of the Rocket Association of America through someplace in Muncie, and is like quizzing me, and I was like, too intense, man. I'm just trying to launch some rockets, but
I've already broken one.
Yeah. So this year is.
You might have gotten kicked out. It's not telling us.
Yeah. So this year it does overlap, and I told him unfortunately I won't be able to do it just because I was like I want to be here in case we need to problem solve. But it is a lot of fun, and there are some projects like that where you are a repeat judge, and the families appreciate it because they learn who you are, and you do learn the kids, and those projects are more about camaraderie than it is about the competition. So you do get to watch the kids progress, and with that specific projects, I have kids that come back each year and will say, well, last year I remember you told me how to wet sand, and I taught myself, and it's I did this, and they explain, so then you can see their skills grow with it. So
yeah, we definitely have a couple that it's like I want them to come back every year because they are such great teachers. I want you there because you truly do teach the kids, whether they've already excelled and this is a state fair project, you still find something to just push them a little bit further, and which is really great to see because that's the whole point.
The whole point is to learn through 4-H. It is.
So it'll be a lot of exciting things coming our way this year.
And then once you graduate 4-H, you go to open class.
Yep. And open class, I know that is something that Bonita's working hard. She took that over from me a couple years ago and has expanded it and really refined it, and it is become one of those, shiny gems for our office as well because of just the processes that she's implemented. I know that she's working on the book right now already, getting it ready. I think she kind of has it close. It's not ready for public consumption yet, but I know that she's already looking forward to it and planning well ahead. She takes a lot of pride in that, so I'm excited to see what that is. And
the specialty's bread this year, right?
I believe so. Yes, that's what I was going to remember. So. I can't remember exactly what she's probably screaming at the radio.
Probably so. We might get a phone call. You never know.
I'll get a text hopefully here in a second. Somebody from the office.
But I feel like it was breads.
I think it was. It was like quick breads and different things. Yeah. So that'll come out, and that has picked back up because we had to do away with baking at one point because of COVID. And that was a huge hit because that was one of those, there was a lot of pride in the baking and the cooking contest. So we brought that back. We do a specialty item, and then there's different classes with it. We have judges that come and do a kind of live judging of it, and that is something that has picked up speed. It's something that the first year, a couple entries, but this past year I think there was quite a few. So
it was brownies this last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
how can you not love that? I mean,
it was good. I always laugh, and I think I talked about it maybe even last time I was here. One of the last years that we had the full baking where it was pre-COVID, and it's a lot even with 4-H, just like open class, it's a lot of logistical planning and organizing, and you got to make sure your volunteers are kind of trained to understand what's going. And we had a couple of missteps with one of our volunteers that was helping organize our pies, and that used to be the big event, was the pies.
Big deal, yes.
Because the whole stage would be covered in them. And I remember it's blind judging, and our volunteer didn't quite understand and was not putting the cards with the pies. So then when the judge was like, oh, like this one, and they tell you what the ranking was. So then we were basically tasting all of the pies, trying to figure out, okay, this one's rhubarb, this one's this, and we think this one goes there, this one goes there. Like it was, and we got it figured out. But I was like, because it was where we were slightly concerned that if we didn't get it right, that people get very excited.
They really like their ribbons, and that's okay. Yes. I'm there too. I won't say that I
there's a lot of pride. There's a lot of pride that is carried with bringing projects to the fair and getting judged. And why was it judged this way, not that way? And so, and that, especially with the open class, those judges at times are even harder to find because 4-H, your skill level is typically out of the roof. But then when you deal with open class with some of our like crocheting and our hobbies that take a very fine level of detail, those judges are hard to come by, where you're not now just looking at the project as a whole, you're looking at knots and counting and what it looks like. It gets
complicated.
Yeah, it gets very complicated.
But if you do, open class has several different categories. So, I mean, that's the best part. You're snowed in right now. So,
pick up a hobby. And there's a lot of, and we have seen numbers increase with open class over the last couple of years. So, it's one of those things that we add projects, and those projects usually are added because it's where a hobby is coming back around in popularity. Crocheting is one of those that we're seeing a little bit of an uptick because people are finding crocheting again, and it's something that they're enjoying it, and they bring their projects. So
I think didn't Bonita add diamond art a couple years ago? I think because that's kind of been a bigger thing, and ceramics.
So I would say that Pinterest and TikTok has been a help to some of that, just because you see things and then it piques your interest, you pick it up, and then people do it because they enjoy it. It passes the time. You're not doom scrolling on your phone. It's so pick up a new hobby. You're snowed in right now. That's something.
We have 5 months to get there, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So,
and it's we do have an early entry process with open class. So that's one of those pieces that Bonita has added where it helps with project entry on the open class side, because we don't have a nice online system for it. It's all manual. But she did an early entry where there's a paper form you can fill out, you bring it into her, and then she gets everything preloaded. So then when you bring your stuff, it's all done instead of just standing and handwriting on the P cards.
It makes that check-in process much smoother.
It does. And that is one of those things that, because our patrons used to wait for hours sometimes because it would be such a long process, and now it's pretty slick. She has done a very good job with it. So excited to see what those projects are. I have a lot of family members and friends that enter, so it's always fun to see what they bring. And how talented they are, because I'm always like, what? Like, you brought
You
that
do
in?
that? That's what I'm always like going through, and I'm like, I had no idea they could
Oh
do
yeah,
something
that
like
was
that.
before I worked for Extension. That was one of those things. We always brought, our family are big photographers, so we would bring photographs, and it was always a big competition between Dad and I who did better. And normally it was always a sad day because I would usually beat him, so I felt bad. But it was nice to win. But,
Have that win just once in a while, right?
I mean, we are gonna have to decide what our extension one will be.
That's right. Last year,
because
we did
the black and white photos last year.
So last year, that's one of the things we chatted about, how we could be, because that's one of the things that we do a lot of the work, and as the CED, that's one thing. I was like, how can we be more involved to enjoy it as well? Because it's a lot of work.
Or how can you win the trophy?
So there's a couple trophies that I've started in the office, but that's one thing that we talked about, where every year for open class we want to randomly pick a project and then just enter it, not against others in the community, but just as ours.
As
and
an
then we would
office, like we're competing against each other.
So then we would do some sort of crowd vote, and then that's how we would judge. And this past year was photography. So we need to.
And Lana blew us out of the water.
Yeah. So she won last year. So this year we need to pick I think last year we picked like 5 or 6 random, and we just did a hat draw.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
So this year we're gonna we need to do that again. So.
Yeah.
Who knows? And it could be any of the stuff. So it.
And don't you find, like, I have a competitive spirit, but like once like what that project is, it's like on like.
Yes,
so,
which last year we were very like the week of the fair, like, hey, we should do this. So we didn't have like
This year you have more time.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need to kind of figure that out, and it was a little short notice, but it was pretty funny how everybody was like, oh, it's gonna be so much fun, like, and then the closer you got to the fair, it's like, oh yeah, like, don't worry about what I'm bringing, like, you'll see it.
We all got very competitive.
It kicks in.
So then, and then, it was still all in good fun, and then whenever it came time to turn it in, everybody just kind of quietly judged everybody else's photo, like,
true,
whatever, like, unless that was just me, I don't know.
No,
but,
we all did. We all did.
But it's just a way that we can also be involved and
have a little fun, because you guys put in Fair Week is just a lot, and getting up to Fair Week is.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's we'll have to. Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to. We'll have
I know.
to go through
we'll have
the book
to go through and pick something.
If
or
it's
put
like
some in a hat.
If it's like
and
quilting or something, I may have to just throw in the towel.
Crocheting. I mean, do you crochet?
Is
your dad?
So I don't know if he
Jess
does.
can
He
teach
can.
you.
Yeah, Jess. That is that Jess, my wife, picked up crocheting over the last couple weeks, and that's been a
good
fun.
For her.
Yeah, that's been a fun little.
I mean, if it's crocheting, I need to know now because I need to go sit with Granny.
So
I can learn the like.
I could do a mean chain probably. I'd have to think about it, but that was how I
did one chain. I was when I went to college. I was like, I'm gonna learn how to do this. I can crochet. I made one really long chain. Never could figure out how to like turn it on and come back. Then it was over. It was done.
That growing up, I have a lot of talented relatives that crochet and do all the things, and like I was too hyper, but I would be sat in a chair at my grandmother's, and she would teach me to crochet multiple times because I'd forget, and I would end up having like just a 40-foot chain.
Yeah.
And be like, cool, all right.
We might have to pull Dennis in. Who taught Jess? Or she just learned?
So she taught herself. So she was all excited. Came home a couple weeks ago and had a bolt of yarn and a new crochet needle that lit up. She was very excited to show me that.
Exciting, yes.
So then it'll be easier for her to see. And it wasn't even 10 minutes, and I could hear her being very frustrated. And I said, "What's the matter?" "I just don't know how to do this." And I was like, "It has literally been 10 minutes." Like, but she and I are very similar in that if it's if we're just not immediately really good at something, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of encouragement. So I know yesterday she showed me she crocheted both girls a little fish.
Well, look at her go.
And they thought that was like the coolest. They could not stop the whole night. Mom made these. So I know that's something one of the things I brought to talk about is that idea that it's the winter. She wanted something other than just sitting on her phone where she could express herself and learn a new hobby, because she has family members that crochet as well. And it's really difficult to learn a hobby, I think, when you're around others that have done it forever, because like I have an aunt that crochets, I have both grandmothers that crochet, dad crochets, and when you watch them do it, they make it look so
like
easy.
it's no big
No,
deal.
I think it's frustrating on both ends because they know how to do it, and I mean, if you truly are not a teacher at heart, like you're like, this is how you do it, and then for like someone to not like
when you can't convey it.
and like it's
So-
frustrating on both ends. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe crocheting's the project.
I may have
like
to,
to
you
see
know
the
what? I
turnout.
may have to take a look at our classes for crocheting and encourage Jess to turn something in.
That's true.
So, because
I'm impressed she made fish this quickly.
that's one of those that I had to stay on her and I had to remind her, like, you can do it. Like, it's gonna take time, and nothing was in existence yesterday, and I came home and
And then
both
there's
girls were
fish.
like, "Oh, Mom made these fish today," and I was like, "You just did that today?" And she's like, "Yeah, I finally figured it out." And I was like, "What?" And I was
once
like,
it clicks, it
you-
clicks.
Yeah,
You just got to get to that point.
So then she ended up, I think, making another one because she made an angelfish for Vivian and a pufferfish for Odella.
Oh, she even like got specific.
Yeah. So then Vivian wanted a pufferfish too because Odie didn't want it So now I have a feeling we're gonna end up with all
you're
kinds
gonna have
of,
an entire ocean.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
when you get home.
So we'll have to next time we come on, we'll have we'll pick that out this month is
Okay.
what our
we'll know
project will be.
what we're going to be seeing next
I
year.
mean,
Summer.
you guys do a lot too. Maybe we could do a WTRE extension
the competitive
project.
spirit gets ugly. And here's the
I
problem.
mean,
I don't know why it would be ugly because I'm gonna win whatever it is. So
I mean,
Right,
we
I-
get very competitive in the office, so
my mom's not very competitive, right? And so she thinks my drive for the competition is like ridiculous. And I'm like, but if you're going to do it, and I'm not saying this is for all 4-Hers, so I don't want to be like laying this on children. But I'm like, if you're going to do it, you do it to win. Like, that's my mindset.
Yes.
She's like, oh, but you just do it because you enjoy it. Well, I mean, there's a piece of that. But you do it because you want to win.
Yeah,
That's
so that's where
spoken
I'm
from
like,
someone
I
who's
just-
probably always been good at whatever they do. Too.
yeah.
Well, and she's such a mom. Like,
That's
Yeah,
true.
no, I'm in
She
it to
is
win
a
it,
mom.
but maybe that's because I was raised in like the world of sports. So like,
but see, that's,
you either you walked out a winner, or you walked out a loser. Like those were your only
I don't believe in
options.
everybody gets a ribbon.
Yeah.
Just me. Just me.
Yeah.
No,
But
I don't either.
I mean, it could happen. See, Valentine's Day is coming up, and we always do Valentine boxes here. The staff creates a Valentine box, like when you were in elementary school.
Yeah.
where you had to like create
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
Valentine box.
mine was always like a car or a tank or something.
Yeah. So we started doing this probably like 4 or 5 COVID-ish. We started doing this. So every year we make a Valentine box, and then we put it up to vote. And I have to win that. That's how it works.
that is.
I would be super competitive.
That
at
is where-
Like,
Sure.
So you guys maybe should bring that to your office too.
Viv will be in preschool somewhere next year, and Jess and I have both laughed already because we are that, and we also want them to do it on their own, and it is so challenging as a parent to just be like, no, put it there. Oh, you want to? Okay, that's not where I would have done it, but all right. So,
I mean, if you guys want to taste, my child has e-learning, so I already took over on Monday. So Case and I sat at the table and we did some e-learning. And it was very challenging because I was like, "Can you find the number 3?" And it's like because I know right away. But I mean, he did great. Like he knows it quite well. But it was just like the like pause of like, let me look for it, where like we can just it's like. No, like coloring. I'm like,
And
gosh,
we'll
like,
clarify. This is for preschool.
Yes, this is for preschool, and like just the coloring.
he's a
and-
senior in high school.
Yeah, no, for coloring, even I'm like, oh, you're doing so good, but I keep it in the lines. Like, I really just want to do this for you, but I can't. Like, it's that
Spirit's just there.
the competitive edge.
Yes.
Trying to just push it into them now. Like,
We want all youth to participate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do your best, and you don't have to win. It's just fun too.
Well, and that's one of those things that I know I've mentioned it multiple times. When you look at data, youth that participate in 4-H are more successful post-secondary than those that aren't. So, and that has existed since the beginning of 4-H, and 4-H in its inception used to be where a lot of youth. It was kind of like the first college in some degrees because a lot of the projects were very skill based. So it was teaching you how to exist after you get out of school. So it was a lot of mechanics. It was a lot of how to raise vegetables, sewing, canning, and it was a lot of the domesticated chores that we now just view as a hobby. where at that time it was you either learned how to do these things or you didn't exist.
So it was a livelihood.
Yeah, so it was very much based on livelihood. Then as it progressed, then we sprinkle in some of the, it's more maybe fun, but it's really rooted in those ideas of, livelihood and skill-based things that a lot of those, that's why we see enrollment numbers up and maybe project numbers down, because our youth are kind of coming back to that livelihood aspect where it's youth are taking welding because I want to weld, so this is going to be my first steps into it, or I want to go into baking, or I want to go into sewing. So that's where we see him focusing specifically on one area versus, because at that time, a lot of families, in the 20s, 30s, 40s, you lived on a homestead, so you were the mechanic, you were the gardener, you were the chicken rearer, and you sewed, so you had to have
It was survival mode,
Yeah.
So that's where, when we look at 4-H, it has evolved into that idea now, but it's very specific. But we see all the time those 4-H youth that go on to college, go into trade schools, or just go into the workforce that are far more skilled and more successful than those that aren't. And it's that foundation that 4-H has given them. So it's something that we encourage it, and if you don't choose to do it, that's okay.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's just an option.
Yep,
Something out there.
It's just one of those that when you come out of 4-H, you're going to be a professional human, but I don't know many that are going to come out to be professional athletes. So
that's true. We won't talk about last night's game in that regard. Did you watch it?
I didn't. I went to bed.
It was sad.
I guess I have, that's where I have to take my extension.
Yeah,
I'm an IU grad,
I know.
so it's been a big year for
So for
Hoosiers.
you, it was great.
Yeah, so I did not anticipate that
game.
outcome, to be completely honest. But I'm not gonna turn it down.
That's right. IU has had a good year. I'll give them that.
It's been it's been one of those years that once in a lifetime. 50 years since the 1976 undefeated season.
I even watched the IU football game because you can't not. I mean, they made
it was
that far.
You know what? Unfortunately, so I have whatever illness is going around right now.
He had the bubonic plague
and was incredibly sick, and watched the first half of the Natty game and went to bed at halftime because I was it was so bad. I was like, I can't, I'm miserable. So got up and read up on it the next morning, and so it was I'll take that as well. But yeah, it was one of those where a little part of me is sad, but I was like, you know what, I need to watch out for my wellness over that. So
and I just can't make it.
Yeah,
it's not
pretty much.
happen.
Where I was like, I think I'm gonna be sick sitting here watching this. So
you really showed your maturity there.
That's right.
I'm trying to grow as a person.
You're not in college anymore. Good job.
It's amazing how it just happens. It is, yeah. People are probably not calling in about bugs right now, right? It's too cold for bugs.
Nope. So one of the big things in the ag realm that we are pushing out a lot is all of our PARPs. So those are our pesticide applicator recertification program. So that's a program that's ran through the state chemist office. So anybody that you ever really see spraying in a field in the large applicators, those individuals have to have a license to do so or are under somebody that has a license. It's a very detailed process to go through, but this is the time when you see a lot of, when we talk about PARPs, it's those programs that are being held to get points because you have to get so many points over a certain period of time to maintain those licenses, and those happen now. So February is a super heavy PARP month because it's after the holidays, but it's before March whenever those companies, applicator companies, or even private applicators are getting geared up to start treating fields and doing their spraying. So for anybody that needs points or that is unsure, check out the state chemist website. They host a lot of those when those PARPs are because they're all over the state. We're a really heavy county for it because we have a lot of companies that specialize in spraying fields from a commercial standpoint. So if you have questions about that, call the office as well. We maintain certain spreadsheets with the state chemist office that kind of helps us understand where you are with points. I know we sent out some letters the other day about those that their license have expired or they are going to expire at the end of this year or next year. So we just to give them a little nudge of, hey, check it out. We have some parts coming up. Yeah. Because the thing that happens is December is going to roll around and our phones will start ringing off the hook where individuals will be calling, well, where are PARPs? I need to get 2 more points before the end of the year. I'm going to lose my life. We have sent all of that out. So be proactive, get those done. And you have all year to get it done. It's just we see a lot of programs right now. A lot of agronomy companies will hold special meetings as well, that they will have those bee parps as well, because then they know that individuals need to get those points too. So that's the big questions that we get right around now is those, because a lot of bugs aren't going, not a lot of things. We do get questions about what should I be thinking about with my garden. Should I be, fertilizing now, not fertilizing?
Not right now.
Not right now. Ground's frozen. So you typically want to ensure that you're fertilizing ahead of time anyway, because you need to allow the ground to absorb it and break it down and have it be available for your plants coming into that. If you're going to put some sort of like manure down, you don't want to put fresh manure on a fresh garden because you'll burn it, too much nitrogen. So that's the big push. Even across the state, parps are the name of the game at the current moment, and looking at that. So, and again, February, I know in this county alone, there's 3, maybe 4 parps that are being hosted in February, right around there. So, and there are also some that are around us in other counties. So if you can't hit one here, I know that you can do one online parp program as well. So to feed into that, you can do one of those. So ag is kind of in a holding pattern with a lot, but it will be picking up very quickly, because March time frame is whenever we start. Into February, beginning of March is whenever it picks up, because that's when we start seeing those bugs coming out, or animals, or what's going on, spraying. So
spring brings a whole bunch of things. Yeah,
spring's a really heavy time for our ag educators. So we'll watch for that coming out. So again, if you have questions about parps, or maybe even just points, that sort of thing, give the office a call. Bonita does a great job of maintaining that for us, so she does a good job. I know that we've also sent letters out, so if you are somebody that we sent the letters out, and I had a couple emails back that, hey, I did update it, I just forgot to let you guys know. That's perfect. If you have that, just let us know so we can make notes, so then we aren't sending you the incorrect information, but we're also maintaining our record, so then we just have a good idea of what's going on in the community. So
all right.
Yeah.
Very good. Again, if you want to enroll in 4-H, it's online, but if they have questions, they can call the office?
Yep.
All right.
812-663-8388.
All right. Anything else this morning? You got a fun fact for us?
I do have a fun fact. So one of the things, and we kind of quickly talked about it this time of year, we have a lot of winter burnout going on. So we used to call it cabin fever, but it has been kind of renamed as
seasonal saddies.
Seasonal affective disorder, so it's sad, but that's one of those that winter burnout is a thing. So investing your time wisely, so identifying, because there's a lot of things that are at play. We've got vitamin D deficiency, which this area of the nation, we're usually under vitamin D deficiency all the time. Our serotonin is not as readily available, so serotonin is one of those hormones that's the feel goods. So doing things where you are not doom scrolling, that you are engaging in a new activity that is going to allow you to find some enrichment is a good thing. Just small movement. So, stretching in your chair is something just to be able to move, because our movement does decrease in the wintertime. Trying to get some level of sunlight, even if it's, on days like today, it's a little difficult because it is so cold, but even 10 minutes will boost your mood immensely. That's why, when the sun comes out, it feels so good. It's because it's giving us a physiologic response. It's we're absorbing that vitamin D. It's making us emotionally feel better, so we're getting those serotonin, that dopamine. So those are some things to think about. It is post-holidays, so we're getting a lot of that post-holiday hangover, I guess, if you want to call it. There's financial stress. There's our calendar stress, because we're leading up to Christmas. Everybody's calendars are swamped with some sort of choir event, there's athletics, there's family gatherings, and then it just stops. So you have this emptiness of, well, what am I going to do? I don't have anything. So filling that time wisely is really good. And the perception of time shifts there as well, because the days are shorter. We have
it's awful.
24-hour days, same thing that we have in July, but the sunlight is not as readily available. What was it, I think? This week was the shortest day, right?
No, that was December 21st.
Seriously, that's in December. I think because didn't we just recently hit the
Yeah, we are now 52% of the way through winter.
Yes, I was we just hit
the
we've just completed the longest stretch, or whatever that longest stretch. Yeah, the darkest stretch.
And it's going to start getting lighter.
Yeah, we're going to see more sunlight now in the mornings. because
Yeah.
Right.
the evenings like has been stretching.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's one of those where we see the sun less. So we will start to see that, but set a schedule still. Ensure that you're getting up on the same time, you're going to bed on the same time, because that helps with your circadian rhythm, which is a real thing. And doom scrolling, don't doom scroll before you go to bed. So doom scrolling is a coined phrase for just sitting on some sort of screen device and just aimlessly engaging and consuming media, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, where you don't even find value in it. It's just you're doing it to do it. I will say I'm guilty of it, but how often has a commercial or something popped on and just reactionary will pick your phone up and just scroll for no reason? That's doom scrolling. So limit that, just because that doesn't give any value either. So, make sure that you're watching that. So just find movement, find those hobbies. It's time,
We're all going to be like Jess.
Yeah,
be like Jess and
get that brand new crochet hook that has a light.
I love that.
So just be aware of that. But all of that considered, that kind of leads into the fun fact of when we're talking about time. It's interesting. I was reading an article the other day that talked about how time is actually different in space than it is on Earth. So time is based a lot on gravitational pull. So our time here is always set because we go 365 rotations, 24 hours a day. So it's set. The further you get away from Earth, the pull is less. So
it's longer.
It
right?
is. Right. So it speeds time up, but it's physically slower. So there's actually a very famous study where the Kelly brothers are astronauts. They're twins. And one went to space for an extended period of time, and the other one stayed on Earth because they were going to do a study to show, does that time difference have an effect, because they're genetically exactly the same. They're biological twins and identical twins. And it did show a change where the brother that was in the International Space Station was younger by like 3 seconds. And I don't know how they measure it, but they were able to show a difference in that his cells were younger compared to the brother that stayed on Earth.
How interesting is that?
So the idea is that the further you get away from Earth, time itself slows down. So in the space-time continuum, it's considered time dilation. What we see in the movies where somebody will go into space and come back and it's been 20 years, that theoretically is what would happen, is that if somebody travels to Mars, to them may seem like 3 days. When they travel back, it could be weeks or months or years. Because the speed of the Earth is going consistent, where the further we get from it, it changes.
Changes. How fun.
Yeah.
That was a fun fact.
Yeah, so which is, I don't know, it's just crazy to me that we
I
can
feel like
measure
So
that's
we should go
very-
to Mars to stay younger, right?
Yeah.
Retain our
Why
youth.
not?
Very
Yeah.
fitting with your aerospace talk today and
That's
everything.
right.
Yeah. What am I saying?
Look
I
at
don't know what I'm
this,
talking about.
right? This whole hour showed like what 4-H is about. We have covered several subjects. That's right.
I can't wait to bust that knowledge out on some 4-H'er this year. This is a nice rocket. If you went into outer space.
Guys, thanks so
man.
much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank
Once
you.
again, enrollment's open for 4-H, so hop online and you can take care of business, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we'll see you next month. It's
Thanks.
300-1330. It's 12 o'clock.